How do you address some of these issues when it's like a team of people who are working from various different backgrounds and countries, and what kind of learning goals are you able to develop then for that?
Well, first of all, I'd say you always start with the business outcome. You start with the organizational purpose and outcome that that team needs to be delivering. And if you've, in your organizational culture and expectations, set up clarity that each individual has some relationship to that organizational purpose and knows they're in it and want to achieve it, then they themselves will do the adjustment if you make them understand, okay, team, why don't you think a little bit about your time differences here? What are you going to do when China needs to talk to America? Who's going to stay up late? Who's going to stay up, get up early? You know what I mean, that kind of thing. Okay, team, you're trying to deliver this on behalf of a global client. Have you thought through how that client's message is going to be delivered differently in these different cultures, right? Okay, team, you're at mixed levels. Have you thought through how you're going to communicate with each other and what the roles and responsibilities are? We're actually in the middle of this with one of our subsidiaries, where our Ketchum, as a community of people, is very affectionate. And there's a FIRO-B measure that measures people's interests in affection, control, and inclusion. It's a psychological measure of motivational stuff. And our people are highly affectionate and highly inclusive, and control, And so we've been working with this subsidiary to develop a control structure. And what we've developed for them is just a very simple card that just says, for the first 30 minutes of any project, talk about who's responsible for what, and be sure everybody's aligned, who's doing what. I know what I'm doing, but I also know what you're doing, before you start the project. And the affection and inclusion will take care of itself later, but have this control in place. So that's how we deal with multi-levels, because we have a lot of fluid teams where people gather together for a project and then go away. And sometimes your level in the organization may be you're in control of that whole project. Next time you're kind of junior, depending, right? So what we're doing is equipping people with the goal and allowing them to understand why they need to adjust, and the fact that they do need to adjust, and then trying to give them a tool to help them adjust. But again, it always comes back to the individual. If the individual doesn't want to change, they won't change. It gives me a chance to give you one of my favorite quotes. I say this all the time. If you want to change the world, change yourself. Just remember, the single hardest thing to do in the world is to change yourself, but that's the most valuable thing you can do. And I really believe that in learning and development, it comes down to the individual choosing to grow and develop.